can you give me a breakdown of like what does good air quality look like? So you've talked about CO2. Are there other components that go into good air quality?
Yeah, so the 5 factors of IAQ, which is indoor air quality, is temperature, relative humidity, PM 2.5, VOCs, and CO2. So VOC means volatile organic compound. I'll go deeper into each one. CO2, carbon dioxide. PM 2.5 means particulate matter under 2.5 microns in size. So what that means is these are the little teeny particles that are small enough to enter your lungs and your bloodstream.
Wow.
So this is the size. This is when you see like air quality alerts, pollution, wildfire smoke. Sometimes they use a metric called AQI, but it's mostly PM 2.5 that they're reporting on. That is the most harmful particle size. And then, of course, you have the CO2. So the VOCs is the volatile organic compounds. Simply put, this is chemicals and gases. So this is, in this room, for example, many things are off-gassing VOCs. Now, it doesn't always off-gas forever. Typically, a product, whether it's drywall, a couch, a table, a baby's crib, a shirt, furniture, it has a certain period of off-gassing. This carpet, and that is typically a little bit sneakier than PM 2.5 and CO2 because you can't really smell the chemicals and the gases. They're very, very fine. But the thing is, the word VOCs is kind of tricky because there's actually hundreds or thousands, like benzene, toluene, formaldehyde. These are all different VOCs. So not every VOC is the same. And most sensors detect total VOCs. They're not actually breaking it apart of like, is this formaldehyde or is this benzene? You don't really know. You have to do really expensive lab testing to sort of dig into it. But broadly speaking, in a home environment, the other source of VOCs is going to be cleaning products and personal care products. So your Method window cleaner, your Lysol, Clorox, the better products actually off-gas way less. Right. So some of the people you talked about in Austin that are like creating, better health and wellness, skin care, cleaning products, whatever, if it's actually good, it's neat because I'm not an expert in those things, but I'm able to see how that translates to impacting the air. And then, the PM 2.5 is the cooking is by far the number one polluter in a home. It's not even close.
Wow.
Not even close.
That's so interesting. It's mostly just like oils and particulate matter coming off of stovetop, or?
So most people's range hoods don't work. If you go home, there's a tissue test I always recommend. So you take a Kleenex or paper towel, try your range hood on fan speed 1. Most people use their range hood on the lowest setting, not the highest setting, because it's pretty loud on the highest setting, and see if it even pulls it up. It should grab it from like several inches away. Really? Most people's range hood.
There's no shot mine does.
No?
There's no shot. Yeah. I mean, our fire alarm goes off almost as soon as we turn the...
Even with the range hood on?
Yeah, with it on full blast.
So with the range hood, is the thing even pulling air? I've seen some that actually blow air.
Wow.
Number 2, where is it venting? So a lot of people, it actually just vents into the cabinet above. Some it vents into a wall cavity. Sometimes it vents into the attic. You want that venting outside. That's the whole point of a vent, to get it out of the building. So the range hood is a problem. Depending on the outdoor pollution and temperature, it's pretty hot in Austin right now. Like, it's not that nice to open up your windows.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. You kind of need to keep the place closed and the AC cranking, and it's still usually too hot.
Totally.
So I cook outside a lot. Not only do I barbecue outside a lot, but we actually have like this jet boil camping stove. Oh, nice. And we often go down to the lake park and we do our bacon and eggs or our steaks outside.
That's the way to do it.
Like, the kids love it.
That's absolutely the way to do it.
Dude, there's nothing worse. You don't have kids, do you?
No, not yet.
So there's nothing worse than, 3 p.m. becomes 10 p.m. like this. It already happens, but with kids, where does it go? It's like you pick them up from school, then you're rushing to like cook this dinner and then clean it, and now it's like 7:30, and then you got to put them to bed, and then that's 8:30. Like, what just happened between 3 and 9? And no kid, myself included, I don't like sitting at the table. It's not like I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We're not exactly having like Socratic discussions about how our day went today. Kids just want to play all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like all this time goes into cooking, then trying to force them to sit still, then clean. Then there's no time to play. What do we do? So it's like if we cook outside, they can play and run around the whole time. You know, as we're grilling, they're coming by and they're snacking. From an air quality perspective, we're not polluting inside at all. And it's awesome. I noticed that like as I started to go to the park and cook more people are doing it.
Really?
It's like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah. I think just even eating food outside is so much more enjoyable than eating food inside.
So
Like,
much better.
yeah.
Everything's better outside.
Yeah.
And I'm very okay. So I'll finish on the cooking piece because I think that's important.
Yeah.
There's two factors. It's not just it's not just that, like, even if you're eating crappy food in a nonstick pan and horrible oils, that's the worst. And you're going to see that in your air quality. But let's say you're using avocado oil or high quality tallow in grass-fed, grass-finished steak from a local farmer in a cast iron or a stainless steel pan. We're doing all the right
only way
stuff.
to do it.
We're doing it all. Your air quality is still getting very polluted, like crazy. So if you smell the food in the house, it means you've really polluted your air. You shouldn't smell your cooking, because what happens is it's not just that you're breathing the meat. When you take protein and high heat, it creates byproducts. So PAH is the big one, called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. When we would test a home that's been damaged from wildfire smoke, that's what we're looking for. Hexavalent chromium is another one. That's not as prevalent with cooking. But basically, you get sulfur dioxide is another one. So you get all these chemical reactions and byproducts of the high heat in the protein that are more harmful than the food itself. Also, even just the whether it's bacon or spicy peppers. Do you spicy food guy?
Yeah.
So if you're cooking with hot peppers, you might be able to eat it and it's okay, but when you breathe it, it's very uncomfortable.
Dude, there's like a spice blend that I use for my steaks, and every time that I cook with it, it gets thrown up into the air and I start coughing. Or
You obviously like eating it.
Yeah, it tastes amazing.
So when you put the food in your mouth, it lands in your digestive system.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome. It's so cool. It's really good at breaking things down, filtering stuff, keeping what you need, getting rid of the rest. It's awesome. When you inhale it, it goes into your respiratory system. It's not a digestive system. So that's where you irritate all your airways. It's for asthmatics can really feel it. But even if you're super healthy, your respiratory system doesn't really like we didn't have indoors until very recently.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden we got these little airtight Tupperware boxes, and then we have high heat and smoke in there, and we hang out and we live in there. So it really impacts our respiratory system. So that's kind of like, it's kind of neat to think like, if I eat it, I have a digestive system. If I breathe it, it's respiratory.
Yeah.
And those two systems are not built the same.
Yeah. So what other factors? You said cooking. Is there anything else that's going to
Cleaning.
cause cleaning?
Pets.
And
And then outdoor air becomes indoor air. That's where the air. It's hard to believe that it's like, where do you think all this air came from? Well,
Right.
outside, of course. So what do you have outside? You still have pollen, you still have mold. And usually when we test a home for pollen, there's often more pollen inside than outside, because the pollen comes in and it gets embedded into the carpet, into the clothing, into the furniture, into the mattress, the insulation. And then anything that can get wet can absorb air. So, if it's like a hard surface, like this thing, if we pour a water drop on there, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to absorb. So that means this is going to be easy. You could clean this no matter what. But if this carpet got spilt, if we spilt some wine on here, we're going to wipe it up.
Yeah.
If we spilt some wine on this carpet, we likely can never get it all out. So anything that can absorb water absorbs air. And unless you're like deep cleaning your house and using a HEPA vacuum, it's very hard to get it out. So if you don't address things at the air level, then they get deeply embedded. So cooking, cleaning, and personal care products, hairsprays, shower products, and like all these new natural soaps and conditioners and all that do make a huge difference. Like if you're using the just regular stuff you get off the shelf at CVS or Walgreens, even though I'm sure they carry some better stuff now too, and like you go and blow dry your hair, it's going to be like off the chain. Your whole house is going to spike. If you're using some better stuff, then it won't.
Mm.